Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of New to Weeaboo. This is number 63 for January 12th, 2022. Yes, it is New Year.
Yep.
And this episode was supposed to come out in 2021, but things happened that were outside of our control.
Things happened. Lots of things happened one after another, and yes.
It was, things kept getting stalled. So yeah, we're finally here. Had to adjust some scheduling stuff a little bit, but hey, we're finally getting around to this one. It just took us a lot longer than I thought it would.
Yeah.
It's been almost a month since the last episode came out. So that's fun.
Yep, that's fun.
Yeah, and a couple things happened in anime news stuff, I guess. What was it? A movie being announced by Makoto Shinkai, who made Your Name, the movie that Alcatraz here fell in love with. By the way, yeah, I'm Nemesis, and that's Alcatraz.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, called Suzume no Tojimari. It's supposed to come out this fall. Apparently about doors and don't open them because bad things happen, I guess.
I guess.
Something like that.
I'm interested. I liked Your Name. I did actually watch Weathering with You, and I enjoyed that, though I think I liked Your Name better, but I liked them both enough that I'm definitely interested in what comes next.
Yeah. Apparently, Ingress is getting an anime.
Oh, geez. Yeah,
you used to play like crazy.
Yeah, I used to play Ingress a lot.
By the way, if you don't know about Ingress, the people who made it went on to go make Pokemon Go.
Yes, Niantic. They also made a Harry Potter thing that...
Who cares about that, though?
Yeah, but who cares about that? Their first big one was Ingress, and then everyone fell in love with the Pokemon Go.
Yeah. Another thing that was announced recently was apparently we're getting a Scott Pilgrim anime adaptation done by Science Saru, who's kind of a big name in the anime world. They've done stuff for things like Devilman Crybaby and Keep Your Hands Off Isaacin and a couple of things for Star Wars Visions. They even did a couple things, a little bit of stuff on Space Dandy and whatnot. Yeah, so they've done a couple of things, and apparently they're really well known for their animation. So yeah, that's a thing.
That's a thing.
And one thing that actually hits for both of us, weirdly enough, is they announced a collaboration between Aquas and Hatsune Miku. They're going to do a song with an animated music video.
Yep.
That's a thing that was announced.
Aquas and Miku.
Yep. Aquas from Love Live.
Yep. And Miku from...
Miku.
Vocaloid.
Yeah, they're going to do a song with, as they announced it. And let's see if they announced when it'll come out. Yeah, they just announced they're collaborating. Whatever it is, they haven't said when it's going to come out yet, but just collaboration is happening. Oh yeah, on top of that, they were releasing a big fancy box set for Love Live Sunshine because it's the 6th anniversary of the series.
Yep.
I saw the price; it's like $330.
And you were tempted?
I thought about it, but I was like, it's not worth it for one song. I already have the series. I have it. I got the cheap Funimation version, but...
Yeah, but this one's, a collector's item.
Yeah, but I'm not spending $330 on 24 episodes in a movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's way too much. I will spend almost $200, though, on 13 discs. That actually, the math checks out to about $15 a disc, which is actually not a bad deal.
It's not a bad deal.
And it comes in a fancy box.
The most important thing.
Yeah. The other thing about the Scott Pilgrim thing is that it's one of those things this is the part people are hesitant about, which is Netflix is doing it.
Yeah.
And of course, also right now, winter 2022 anime started to premiere as of this point. So, yeah, that stuff is happening.
Yep. Things are moving in the world of anime.
Yeah, we're actually going to talk about something that actually is at this point a little over a year old.
Yep.
It was going to be about a year old when we talked about it, but things happened again.
Things happened.
But yeah, we're talking about Akudama Drive, this is going to be the first time we're actually going back and talking about an anime we talked about in one of the seasonal, I guess,
roundup
things that we've done.
Sampler platters.
Yeah, the sampler. One of the samplers we did. This is the first time we're going back and finishing it. I've always talked about doing this later, but we never actually got around to it until now.
We have.
We got around to it on one of them at least. So Akudama Drive. This came out in the fall of 2020 and is done by Pero Animation, it's either done things like Naruto and what was the other one? Popped out to my Tokyo Underground, Tokyo Mew Mew, Bleach.
A lot of big names.
Yeah, a couple big things here. There's one Tokyo Ghoul. That's the other one I saw.
Yep. A lot of big names.
It's a lot of big things they've done. Yeah, and it takes place in a very, as we talked about a little bit before, it takes place in a very cyberpunk world with a little bit of, weirdly enough, a little bit of steampunk stuff in there too.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a cyberpunk world, and it's about more or less a group of criminals who go off and have to more or less grab a package from a train and then deliver said package. So more or less, at least that's how it starts, and it evolves from there. We'll get onto it.
Yeah.
One thing I'll warn you about, we're going into this, is it is gory and violent at times. Very much so.
Violent?
Gory, yes. I remember very distinctly some very just gory bits.
Yeah. I've seen worse, but
it is gory. Just an FYI, I don't want you to jump in and go, I can throw up or something on your TV or whatever.
Yeah, there's a fair amount of blood and a little bit of some other things as well.
Yep, so stuff happens on that front. So, it's... I don't remember if I commented on this. I should have actually gone back and listened a little bit. Yeah, I don't remember if I commented on this, but I remember thinking that, man, this art style looks a lot like Danganronpa. Turns out I was right, because the person who made Danganronpa worked on this. It's like, oh.
So that would make sense.
Kazutaka Kodaka.
Hopefully you're pronouncing those right.
So I was absolutely right about that, because there's a character in Danganronpa who has very similar hair colors and everything to one of the primary characters in this. But yeah, this was actually apparently inspired largely by Quentin Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs,
which I have not seen.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen the whole thing. I think I've seen bits and pieces, but I've never seen the whole thing in one sitting and anything like that. So it's like one of those things. Yeah, so the idea was, a bunch of criminals doing stuff. Yeah, a bunch of criminals who have nothing to do with each other, having to come together and work together. And sometimes egos getting in the way and whatnot. But yeah, you got the Akudama, which apparently is some sort of criminal thing. There's a lot of stuff, and that's one thing about this. There's a lot of this that simply just goes unexplained. There's a lot of just blank, empty spaces, and it's obviously very intentional. There's just a lot. It doesn't bother to explain. That's not important.
Yeah,
it's just they give you enough for you to get into the world and tell the story.
Yeah,
and I think it works, because they don't have to bog themselves down explaining a whole bunch of crap that's not really relevant to the story they're telling.
Much to the chagrin of certain types of individuals.
Yes, I know. You're probably sitting there upset.
No,
What about this?
No, I love lore and details, but I also know it's not always necessary.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get pissed off when they're not included and say it's a horrible thing because they didn't include all. Yeah.
So you got the Akudama, basically super criminals. Super villains, so to speak. In a sense. But yeah, you gotta start off with this ordinary girl who's just going home from work, and she goes to get some takoyaki, and she picks up a coin from a guy who dropped it, and then from there things go crazy. The person selling takoyaki thinks she's trying to swindle her, and she gets arrested, and everything goes to crap because the Akudama are also invading the police station because they were told to do so to go break out Cutthroat, who was being scheduled to be executed because he beheaded 999 people.
Yep.
So she gets caught up in this, and to save herself, she says, I am Swindler. I am an Akudama who is not in the listing because I totally wiped myself out from there. Haha.
Haha.
Yeah, so she goes by the name Swindler because we don't actually get any of their real names. And I believe that is very much just like Reservoir Dogs, but we never actually learn the real names. So yeah, you got Swindler, more or less the main character. She's kind of in over her head and barely hanging on at times. Courier, who, delivers stuff, has a nice fancy bike and a robotic arm, and also apparently never fails to make his delivery. So there's that.
He's also very stoic.
Stoic and cares more about his bike than anything else, really.
Yep.
Including himself.
Kind of an edgelord.
You got Brawler, who really likes to fight and is a little dumb.
Just a little.
But, he really likes to fight things, and he's also very, very strong.
Yes.
Hacker, who is bored and wants to have a challenge and is hacks things, and that's the reason he took the job, is because he was just kind of bored, really.
Yep.
Doctor, who, she, I guess, kills people, but also somehow can heal herself. Yeah.
She's very good at being a doctor.
Yeah, on herself. She doesn't really practice medicine on anyone else, but she knows a lot about anatomy and stuff. So she can kill people very efficiently. But
she does help sometimes.
Sometimes.
I mean, she'll stitch up the other Akudama at times.
Sometimes, but she's also very much willing to just murder random people for no good reason.
Oh, yeah.
You got Hoodlum, who, well, he's just a low-level criminal who's just kind of, again, much like Swindler, got caught up in all this and just lying to keep himself alive. Very much latching on to Brawler specifically.
Totally a bromance going on there.
Yeah, and then you got Cutthroat, who, well, he's the murderer, serial killer, kind of a little,
He's nuts.
yeah, he's not all right.
No.
And also he latches himself onto Swindler because, she's his angel, I guess.
I guess.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, they all wind up joining up together because, well, Cat shows up and more or less, and there's also, Cutthroat kind of gets these little explosive collars onto all of them because he just opens up the package that Courier was delivering and just puts all the collars on. Why? I don't know, because Cutthroat, again, doesn't really think about things. And then this cat shows up and starts talking, and little cat shows up and starts talking and tells them all that I have a job for you, and I want you to go and get onto Shinkansen and steal the package. Easy enough, except for the whole fact that, Shinkansen's kind of hard to get on and everything, because security's really tight.
Yeah, very tight. It's the highest guarded thing in the city.
Yeah, they managed to get on there, and turns out the package is a boy and a girl, who throughout the series are pretty much just called Oni-chan and One-chan.
Yep.
Essentially brother and sister.
Yep.
And turns out they're very special. They're like pretty much indestructible children.
Yep. Rapid healing and don't need to eat really or anything like that.
And so on and so forth. Yeah. And they're being delivered to Kanto for some reason. They don't want to be. And turns out the cat was the boy. Get more or less used the
it was a weird AI thing that was sort of developed by Kanto, but they kind of made it was self-aware, and it's they don't really explain it all that well, but it's a weird AI type thing.
And then the brother took it over and used it to rescue himself and his sister. Yeah, and so they get them off, and then the things get crazy. The executioners show up, and they're who are there specifically to kill Akudama, and things get really wild. And then eventually by the end, brother and sister are free, but heavy price paid for sure.
Yes.
Say the least. Okay, so one thing, I will say this right now. Yes, the animation does very much stand out. It is very good looking.
Lots of color.
Yeah, very colorful and lots of action stuff. The action stuff is also really good, and there's a lot of it just looks really good the entire time.
It does.
Lots of neon and everything. It's very cyberpunk. It works. They use the aesthetic to its like max potential, I guess.
One of the other ones is contrast. Mm-hmm. Heavy use of contrast.
Yes.
So lots of color and lots of bright lights, but all set to really dark backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like
cyberpunk.
Yeah. So yeah, very very good use of contrast
also,
to make everything stand out.
I noticed when they were doing transitions, they'd often do the whole like pieces of the scenery like slam into the frame and stuff around things, and then it'd move forward, and that was always pretty cool.
Yeah, when they use the scenery as a cut,
It's also, we get frequent cutaways to this little propaganda program hosted by Usagi-chan and Same-kun, aka Bunny and Shark.
Yep.
Yeah, we get, so basically that occasionally would just give us a little bit of information about the world that we're in, just enough so we can at least understand the next part of the story.
Yep. But apparently they also exist in the world too. It isn't, because at first they only present that really just to the viewers.
Yeah, but
although one of the cool things that I like that they did is always they start with one of those scenes where it's Bunny and Shark talking, and when they're done with that scene, it would kind of zoom into a screen.
Zoom out. Yeah,
zoom out. So it's a screen in the actual world.
Mm-hmm.
Though usually the characters don't see it.
Yeah, or they're just not paying attention.
Or something like that. You don't really see the characters interacting with Bunny and Shark until the end. You start seeing it. They actually start to do so.
Yeah, so initially, there's a couple, the executioners as well. There's a couple of them initially who were just kind of showed up and, again, no names. They're just kind of known as master and pupil. They're there, they're fighting the Akudama, and then master dies fighting Brawler, and then pupil takes over, and then she gets her own little pupil who's just named Junior, and then you got the boss who, she's very much runs the whole executioner thing, and
Yep.
And there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, including, and there's the thing, it's like, it does the thing of like, you get to that point where you realize, pretty much everyone's going to die. Which, slowly as time goes on, one by one, each of the Akudama fall.
Yep.
Yeah, you got Hacker disappears, although
Hackers is an interesting one.
Hacker disappears for a while because he's like, I'm just going to go to Kanto regardless. I need to go. I
Yep.
want to go.
I want to go.
And when we were told, basically, we're all assuming that he's just going to his death. And Brawler dies because he's fighting...
He's fighting the first
Yeah,
executioner master person.
And it turns out part of the reason he also dies because Doctor did an intentionally poor job of stitching him up.
Yep.
Because he was annoying because, as she put it, anyone who could survive the gas I use is an annoyance.
Yep.
So she needed just an annoyance out of her way. Yeah, if that's the weird thing, I would say all of them, Doctor's actually the most outright, blatantly just evil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because all of them, like, Brawler, I mean, it's one of the things, he really kills people sometimes, but often just because he's fighting.
Yeah, he's not out.
He's not out to really just kill people. He just wants to fight and have a good time and prove how strong he is.
Yeah, and sometimes people die.
That's what happens when you fight.
But
that's what happens.
Well, Cutthroat also is pretty evil.
Yeah, about those would be Doctor and Cutthroat are both just pretty outright evil. But
Yeah.
the others are like there's to the degree. The rest of them to a degree have at least some degree of
moral fiber.
Some degree. Some degree of something that makes you at least find them likable. There's something there at least grounds them a little bit, even if it's not a lot.
Right.
There's something there at least.
Yeah.
There's at least some moral code there, even if it's not a great one.
Yeah, Courier just does his jobs.
Yep, he's hired to deliver a package. It doesn't matter what it is. He doesn't care what's in it. I mean, there's one point we saw when in his introduction, he just drops himself into a middle of basically a gang fight. He delivers the thing and everyone just kind of stops. He delivers it and he leaves. He doesn't care. And then shortly afterwards, everything blows up. He's leaving.
Yep.
Yeah, I also think Brawler and Hoodlum develop at first, Hoodlum is like, it latches on to Brawler. Goes, Brawler's a strong one here. Just get in good with him.
And he'll keep me safe.
He'll keep me safe. And on top of that, good, he's actually kind of dumb, so it's really easy to trick him.
Yep.
Because he's sitting there bragging about how he's like this massive sentence and he's so strong and stuff, but he's going to totally let Brawler do it because, he doesn't want to get in.
Yeah.
But Brawler just believes him.
Yep.
Just everyone else sees through Hoodlum's garbage BS, but Brawler just accepts it. And yeah, the thing is, Brawler and Hoodlum eventually develop a genuine bond and friendship.
Yep.
To the point of when Brawler dies, Hoodlum is distraught.
Yeah. And actually does serious damage to an executioner.
Yeah. And you actually, it's one of those things. It's a thing. It was like something about this. It's one of those things. It's like, it's really good. It's really well done when they take these genuinely terrible people and make you actually feel bad for them when bad things happen to them, even if it's their own fault.
Except for the Doctor.
Except for the Doctor.
And Cutthroat. They got what they deserved.
Yeah, no, those two are terrible. And yeah, Doctor even kind of after Brawler dies, Hoodlum's just kind of drifting, I guess, and eventually, after everything goes down and all the Akudama everything got more messed up because the executioners came in. Doctor sold them out.
Yep.
She kind of more or less grabs Hoodlum and more or less forces him to just hang out with her, including just more or less using him as a bit of a boy toy, I guess.
Yeah.
Implication that Doctor might actually be older than she appears to be.
Yep.
Yeah, she uses him, and then he finds out that she was more or less kind of responsible for Brawler's death. And he probably survived. She didn't intentionally mess him up, and oops. Yeah, and then he gets up. Well, he eventually helps more or less start the process of getting Doctor killed.
Yep.
Till he stabs her, and then she gets trampled to death.
Yep. He stabbed her in a very, very mortal wound. If you can't fix it up, and the trampling. Yeah.
But we also seen, of course, that she's literally sewn her own head back on before.
Yep.
Somehow.
Yep. But the Doctor made the mistake of teaching Hoodlum how to, stab really good.
Yeah. Although again, she's bound probably to fix herself up, and then
Yep. But then the trampling happened, and she couldn't fix herself up, so she died.
That's one of the things. It's kind of a weird running joke. She takes a very blatantly fatal blow and somehow survives it because she's a doctor.
I'm a doctor.
And it's people that how. And it's never explained. You don't see it. It's always she falls off screen and then she pops back up fine with new stitches.
Yep.
A little disconcerting, to say the least.
just a little. Her whole thing is control.
Mm-hmm.
That she wants to control life, basically.
Life and death.
Yep. And that's why
She doesn't want to live forever. She just wants to have control over it.
yeah, and that's sort of one of her reasons for selling out once she realizes what these kids are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the whole thing about the kid brother and sister. Yeah, it's a part of some weird experiment to try to create children who are effectively immortal because their cells infinitely regenerate.
Yeah.
It's basically somehow breaking a lot of things about how life works, essentially.
Yeah.
And the whole purpose is basically so they could be hard drives for Kanto, because it turns out Kanto is actually more or less, well, the Matrix.
Basically, yeah. So the whole war Kanto is...
Or I guess, or the whole, everyone's minds melded into things. It sounds like everyone's kind of melded into a singular entity now at this point in Kanto.
Maybe?
Because it sounds like, because the way the hacker was talking about, he talked about how he was able to maintain himself despite joining Kanto.
Yeah.
So it sounds like they're all, a singular conscious, like, Evangelion of sorts. If you need a quick saying, everyone became orange goo and then,
yeah.
well, not really, but
I would say don't try to explain Evangelion, but we're eventually gonna have to try, but not now.
Anyway, singular consciousness and something, and yeah, they're going to be the hard drives because surprise, surprise, the thing that they're on is still wearing out, and they don't want that. So you need this thing which will infinitely regenerate itself.
Yeah.
So that's what to do, and that's why they're whole important, and yeah, and they don't want that. Not surprising, and so they try to run away, and yeah. Oh, another thing that's really great about this, I would say, is the music. Throughout the whole series, there's a lot of synth and whatnot. There's even some really good... There's one bit towards the end where you have this really amazing, this organ track and everything. There's a lot about it. I even like the OP and ED. Those, I think, were pretty good, too.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned in the last one, I wasn't entirely sold on the OP and the ED. Weren't exactly my... They're not bad, but they're just not my cup of tea.
I just really like... I just think they're pretty neat. Particularly the presentation there as well, with the splatter, neon splatter effects.
The visual effects are really cool. Some of the effects that they do kind of remind me of the whole Kata music video thing, switching between the almost like black light splatter, switching back and forth. But the visuals, it's just all around. You have the OP, ED, the entire show visuals are absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
I just wasn't entirely sold on the music and the OP and the ED.
Another thing I also like is a lot of, again, beyond that, there's also just a lot of the rapport between all the Akudama works out really well. I mean, you got, Swindler and Courier calling, insulting each other constantly. And it's one of those things, in an alternate universe, those two have been making out at some point. But not in this one.
Not in this one. They die.
They die.
They all die.
Yeah. Brawler and Hoodlum, of course, having their whole thing. Hacker was one. The problem with Hacker is because he died so early. Well, quote unquote died.
Quote unquote, yeah.
So early because he kind of survived and then came back and then he died at the end.
He died.
He was not there for very long, so for him, he wasn't able to establish himself as a character as well as the others.
Yeah.
So he kind of eliminated pretty quick. I think it won't surprise me just because we don't know. It won't surprise me the writers. I don't know what really to do with him. So.
Could be. Just get him out of the way.
And then Cutthroat just being generally creepy about everything.
Everything. Oh my god.
Particularly when Swindler was involved. And then this whole thing where somehow he could see her halo, and then of course the halo got bigger and bigger as time went on, to the point where he knew where she was at all times somehow.
Yeah.
And somehow it's an actual legitimate thing.
Somehow. They don't explain it. It's creepy.
Until Swindler kills him.
Until Swindler, finally kills him. In the meat closet.
Yeah, pretty much. Because, his whole thing was like, he's doing this whole thing is like, oh, I'm totally in love with you. But it turns out when he says that, what he means is he just totally wants to kill her, but in a very special way.
Very special way. Because it's Cutthroat and he's creepy as hell.
Yep. Yeah, he still loves the color red and everything. And then, of course, eventually he's like, why can't I see anything?
Yep.
And then dead.
Because you've been stabbed.
And that's another thing. One thing I like a lot about Swindler is, she's going from completely confused and scared and lost, and actually starts to live up to her name. It says she's taken on as Swindler.
Yep.
And everything. And she even, she eventually is able to actually trick so many people into doing things. Eventually she tricks the entirety of Kansai there into more or less having a revolution.
Yeah. She kind of does it twice.
Yeah, twice.
Twice.
Once accidentally.
Oh, I'm not
The
entirely.
first one, no, the very much the first time I remember this, she very much did not intend to do what she did.
Right. She intended to do something, but not quite get the reaction she intended because she made those posts.
Yeah, she was trying to, I guess, mess with the executioners, but then she wound up
causing an uprising.
a riot, which got suppressed by the executioners because they went, okay, all you are Akudama now.
Anyone
which
who's
means we can
rioting
now kill you.
Yep.
And then she tricked them again.
Yeah, and that's sort of where the whole, I guess, moral of the thing starts showing up more and more. Although it was there from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Kanto is ruling over Kansai with an iron fist, basically, using them for resources.
Yeah, it's like a lot of cyberpunk that's basically totalitarian.
Yep.
Regime,
the upper class, hard separation between the upper class and the slums, and they suppress the slums for their resources.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's the whole thing. And then, yeah, I mean, we got the executioner boss answering to some weird faces from Kanto.
Yep.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing because we get that whole you get to the end, she more or less tricks them because she records a video where it looks like she's just some innocent citizen who gets killed by an executioner, and that caused another uprising.
Yep.
And,
Except the first one was the accidental. They were uprising against the police and they were attempting to try and kill Akudama. They were mad that the police weren't killing them fast enough.
Yeah, we're not safe.
And then the next one was, now you're just killing innocent people. We don't want you at all.
You're the real Akudama.
You're the yes.
And so there's a big old uprising. This time there was no declaration of being Akudama, so who knows how that's going to end. We don't really get. There's a lot of stuff that's left open, which again intentional probably because there's a lot about that. We don't know how the whole uprising in the city went down in the end. We don't know if the executioners wiped out. We don't know if Kanto's clearly undoomed at this point.
Oh yeah.
Slowly or whatever, however fast it is, it's doomed. Brother and sister are already able to escape eventually out of the city to some coordinates that they were given by Hacker. We don't know exactly where they went other than somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah. Hacker apparently found something.
Yep.
In some pre-war literature.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Kanto and Kansai were at war back somehow. Before all this, Kanto and Kansai were at war and Kansai lost.
Yeah. Although by look of it, so did...
And taken under by Kanto. And Kanto decided that afterwards to more or less make themselves, preserve themselves forever by bringing uploading all themselves as an eternal consciousness in a computer or whatever.
Yeah.
Floating in debris field.
Yeah, that's not explained either.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff
doesn't
just
work right
not
there.
explained. Like why the moon blew up? Because the war. Okay. There's no moon. The moon's blown up.
Yep, the moon. Yep.
There's a lot of stuff that's just not explained other than this is the future and things happen and for a while technology regressed.
Yep.
And
except for places that it didn't.
Yeah. It's a weird thing. It's like, we see all sorts of weird stuff like that. But yeah, brother and sister get away to somewhere. I think there's a weird thing. The way the shots were, it was really well done. They're just slowly walking through the tunnel and everything, escaping into whatever this was. But we keep seeing these shots of these feet, which are not their feet. At least not as I noticed that. It's like, it almost implies that those might be the adult versions of them in the future. Because the way, those are heels, and sister wasn't wearing heels.
Yeah, I was noticing that too. It's like, wait a minute.
So the implication that they might be coming back later as adults.
An opening for a season 2, possibly.
It'd be completely different.
Yeah, because the main.
Yeah, they're all dead.
Yeah,
there's a whole thing there with more or less Swindler adopting the two of them.
Basically.
You're my siblings now. What? You have no say in the matter.
You have no say in them. Yep.
And yeah, part of it was because brother got captured and he sacrificed himself to save his sister. And Swindler took sister there and kept her safe and stuff, but also taught her a couple things, including how to be vulgar. Much to brother's chagrin. What did you do to her, you stupid Akudama? But this is also the nice thing was from before that, sister's just this quiet, just didn't really say much, just kind of along for the ride. But now after that, once she's separated from her brother for a bit, she's able to develop her own personality and whatnot.
Yep.
Which is really nice.
It is. It is nice to see the characters. That's the big one, the character growth.
Mm-hmm.
Swindler got the most character growth. Obviously, she's the main character. Courier, they all got a little bit. They all got some character.
We also
growth.
get bits and pieces of who they are and some of their past. Like we saw something happen to Courier in his past at the very end. We saw some of his past, but not really a whole lot of context for it.
Right. Walking, what it looks like as a kid, walking home, find someone he cared about, either like
probably his mom
or older sister or something like that. Could be
dead.
either one dead, and then
and then it turns out the people who killed her are still there, and they shoot his arm off, hence the robot arm,
and
also his aversion to picking up coins off the ground, I guess.
Yeah,
that was shortly after he picked up a coin. Yeah, there's a whole thing there. Hoodlum, we don't know a whole lot about them beyond that. Just they don't really give us what they need. Hoodlum also again the whole character growth of just some guy who's just trying to BS his way into surviving, winds up genuinely forming a connection with someone.
Yep,
that he was not expecting.
Yep, and then finally standing up for himself and doing something.
Yeah, he's a coward.
Yep, he's an absolute coward.
So on and so forth.
But in the end, he stands up for himself and helps take out Doctor.
Mm-hmm. And significantly hurts a executioner.
Yep. So he redeems himself.
More or less stabs her in the eye.
Basically, yeah.
Doesn't kill her though, because I think it's at that point he's still kind of squeamish out actually killing someone.
That, and it's Hoodlum against an executioner.
No, the thing was she was in the hospital after that.
Yes, but the fact that he survived it all.
Yeah.
Against that sort of mismatch of skills.
I guess the other thing is as well, the executioner is somehow just also super strong and fast, just like Brawler. Again, not at all explaining how is Brawler so strong. I don't know. Just is.
I don't know.
Just is.
He just is.
Yeah, like that whole thing. Like he just super strong, and then of course his executioner comes along, who's just able to match him, and it's like, oh, okay.
Because they have advanced technology and training,
something.
I don't know. It's anime. We don't have to explain it.
Cyberpunk, who knows? As far as we know, is augmentations of some sort.
Could be.
So there's that whole. It's just this whole thing. It's just really well done. It's just the thing is, it's its own self-contained story. It's not based on anything specifically. Well, it's obviously references stuff. Like I said at the beginning, Reservoir Dogs was a big influence on it, and of course stuff like Blade Runner and Ghost in the Shell are also influences as well. But it's its own self-contained story. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It doesn't get bogged down in too much detail. It just tells a story. It gives you enough information, and there's a whole lot open-ended for whatever. We don't know the fate of we don't know the actual real end fate of a lot of stuff. We know the end fate of pretty much all the Akudama. They all died. We see them all die.
Yeah.
But like brother and sister, we don't know for sure if they, we don't know for sure. It's implied, but we don't know for sure. We don't know how Kansai is doing after that the uprising. We don't know if we don't know a lot of things, but that's fine.
Yeah,
honestly,
I will say pacing wise, it got a lot more hurried at the end. I wouldn't say rushed, but hurried. Hard to describe exactly how I feel about that one. I don't think it was bad, but you can definitely tell things. As the show progresses, things start happening quicker and quicker, and things start moving, and more stuff starts happening.
Yeah, I see it as just the natural, just ramping up of the stakes.
Right. I think it might have gotten a wee bit too quick within the last two episodes, but not too much. But sometimes Swindler's death, the imagery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
God, the symbolism on that one.
Yeah. By the way, that episode actually aired pretty close to Christmas, actually on Christmas Eve.
Oh, nice.
So that's the thing. It's like, yeah, it just hits even harder then.
Yep. But she literally got stabbed on a cross.
Yeah.
It's just, wow, symbolism.
Oh yeah, the other thing was the episode where Cutthroat dies also is very heavily references The Shining.
Oh yeah.
It's even called The Shining.
Yep.
Actually, most of the episodes are named after various movies. Although I believe all except like one or two of them. Because let's see, you got 7 except the V spelled replaced the 7.
Yep.
Reservoir Dogs, Mission Impossible, Speed, Dead Man Walking, Brother, that's the one I'm not sure about, but The City of Lost Children, Black Rain, The Shining, Babel, War Games, and then Akudama Drive.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so most of the episodes are based off English movies. Oh yeah, this is actually supposed to air in summer of 2020, but got delayed because the COVID.
Yep.
Beyond the the thing is I've seen that generally it was
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've also seen generally people liked it.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. I don't regret watching it.
It's
it was
a really good one, honestly.
It was good.
It was very much the standout of that season. I remember that much.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to remember what else was in that.
I just closed that.
Let's see.
We had Akudama Drive. Oh, well, okay. Adachi and Shimamura was part of the sampler.
Oh yeah, that was a really good one too. But that was kind of a whole different thing.
Yeah. The other one was the Iwaka Kikaru Sport Climbing Girls and the Hypnosis Mic.
Oh yeah, that
it
thing.
Was just,
I was not a fan of that one.
I couldn't take it seriously. Oh, it was just a thing.
That was
a thing.
And the Sports Climbing Girls was just kind of very generic sports stuff, honestly, by the end.
Yeah.
But I'd actually Shimamura, that's for sure.
Yeah, I still need to go through and watch that one.
Yeah, overall, really good. Recommend watching it if you haven't already. And just also know it's not for squeamish people either.
No, the swim like the episode that Cutthroat dies and you walk in the room is a pile of dead bodies.
Yeah,
that's not great.
Children.
For kids. And by pile, I mean mountain. It fills up the room.
Yeah, he pretty much killed, it's implied he killed pretty much every non-executioner staff member in that building.
Yeah, that's why the building was empty when they walked in. Why is it, where is everyone? In a pile in the corner.
Yeah.
Thanks, Cutthroat.
I just generally really like it, and it's a really good one. It was really also really nice going back and watching it again, honestly. For you, it was the first time to go through the whole thing. Because I just kind of kept up with it after it aired, and I did not regret it in the slightest.
Yep. It's good.
It's just everything about it. And I even liked how the OP actually changed over time to reflect changes in the show itself, including stuff like they changed from one bit of imagery to another as characters died, and also just when there's haircut was reflected in the OP as well. And there's a whole bunch of stuff, and it generally feels really good, I think.
Yep. It's good.
That's it for this one, I guess. If you enjoyed this episode and want to listen to others, you can go to newtoweeaboo.libsyn.com, spelled Libsyn. There's no spaces or dashes in there. If you want to check out other episodes as they come out, past and future. There's also the other ways to subscribe to us. That'll be mostly listed up there at the top of the page. There's, of course, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and, Amazon Podcasts, which is the one that's not listed there. But you can search for New to Weeaboo on any of those services and find us and subscribe if you want to do that. See new episodes that come out. If you want to contact us, you do so via newtoweeaboo@gmail.com. Tell us if you have any anime recommendations you want us to see, or you just ask me questions about other stuff, and maybe something we didn't clarify well, whatever. I don't know, or maybe you disagree with us on Akudama Drive for some reason. I don't know. So there's all that stuff, and of course you can follow us on Twitter at @NewToWeeaboo if you want to follow us there and see new episodes as they come out via that way. And there's also personal Twitters. I'm at Nemesis Prime 1, and he's at Alcatraz77T and _ at the end. And yeah, I've been tweeting robot stuff because Transformers reviews and stuff like that.
And I just lurk.
Yep, exactly. And that will be it for this one. Join us next time. We will be talking about Made in Abyss. We're finally doing that one.
Finally.
Yes, person who has been patiently waiting for us, asking us a couple times very nicely. We're doing it finally.
Yes, we do appreciate that.
Just in time because season 2 is coming out later this year.
Yeah, we appreciate that you're very nice about asking that. You're not demanding.
Yeah, and very patient too, because it's just one of those things. Our lists, our schedule's kind of filled out for a while, but we're finally getting to it. We're doing it.
Yep.
So we'll see how that goes in the future.
Yep.
And hopefully we don't get snowed out again.
God.
That was annoying.
That was what? Probably at my house 5 inches.
Yeah, I was trapped in my house.
4 to 5 inches in about one night.
Yeah, I was trapped in my house. I remember I went to bed. It's looks like Alcatraz will be able to come over to record tomorrow. And then next day, nope. Because overnight just dumped a pile of snow on all of this.
Yep.
But anyway, That's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time. Take care of yourselves and all that stuff, and we'll see you in episode 64. So bye.
Bye.